Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Expansion Pass here on Boss Push Games. I'm your host, the enlightened, excited Eddie V. But don't know why I'm about to get stuck saying my own intro. Joining me is the wise Wisconsinite himself, Mr. Jesse Douglas. Hello, good sir.
How's it going, everyone?
Yes, and everybody, of course, is our wise wrestling night. Our wise wrestling night, Mr. Josh Martinez. Hello.
Hello. I'm happy I finally got a nickname, Ed.
Yes. We are going to be discussing Nintendo and Microsoft. This 10-year agreement that they made on with Activision games coming to Nintendo's future platforms or just Nintendo platforms in general for the next 10 years if Microsoft acquires Activision. The discussion actually is going to revolve around, we're going to talk a little bit about that, but it's going to be like, what can Microsoft bring to Nintendo and what can Nintendo bring to Microsoft if they ever decided to make games for each other platforms? So, of course, me and Jesse used to host Arsenal X, so we kind of know our stuff about Xbox. Me and Josh talk a lot about Nintendo during the chat and everything. And of course, if you guys didn't know, Jesse used to be a part of Nintendo Power Block back in the day. We used to do, you and Corey did Power Block, Arsenal X, and
AX, I think.
Codename NX, the NX show.
NX, yeah.
So we used to do a lot of podcasts and everything. But I kind of want to ask you guys and just get your thoughts. When you heard that Microsoft went into agreement with Nintendo to support them with the Activision games for 10 years, what were your thoughts? Even though Microsoft hasn't acquired Nintendo, the way that it first stated that Xbox games would be coming to Nintendo. Now, a little people were confused, but if that did happen, what do you think could be the results from it? Josh, I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah, my thought was, we really kind of opened the forbidden door here. I mean, that was kind of, console wars have been a thing since gaming's ever been around. I would like to say I don't think Xbox has really gotten caught up with Nintendo versus Xbox, but I mean, people have drawn their lines. They've said, "Hey, I want to be this console and this console only." And I mean, the three of them all three have their exclusives that they didn't want to do that. This agreement doesn't really change the exclusive, and I mean, we look at it; it's really just Microsoft trying to say, hey, look, it's combating Sony's complaints of you're going to hold a monopoly on Call of Duty. That's really what a lot of this is about. But for me, it looked a lot like we've cracked the forbidden door. I mean, we've never kind of seen this collaboration between two big gaming companies. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, because I am younger and I might not remember some of the things, but I don't feel like we've seen this kind of a collaboration, albeit this small, that really I think could lead to some cool things. Right now, it's very minuscule of what it could be, but for me, the big thing was I'm like, we've cracked a forbidden door, a door that doesn't get broached very often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the closest thing would have been like the Dreamcast was a Microsoft helped in creating like a part of that, but they also weren't in the console business yet. So
yes,
but they did kind of in a way almost team up, to bring the Xbox, to the very first one in, because they kind of worked with Sega and getting some of those exclusives and being basically the replacement for the next Sega console. But yeah, that's about as close as it comes that we've seen.
I know Nintendo did put one of their games on the Atari 2600, which was Mario Brothers, and that was before they got their own console. But Nintendo was doing arcade games, and as time passed, Nintendo were working with like Capcom to have games put on like the Game Boy with Legend of Zelda and everything.
Mhm.
But for a company that is still, won't say competition, but it's still like a first party bringing some of their games to to another first party.
Yeah.
This would be the first one. Because Sega didn't bring their games to Nintendo until they went out of business. Now, there is some kind of like weirdness with it because Shinobi was a game done, I think, by Sega that was on the Sega Master System. And somehow Tengen, which was, I think, a side company of Namco, they were able to bring Shinobi on the Nintendo platform, even though they weren't supposed to. That's why if you see Tetris from Tengen like at $4,000 for that cartridge, it's because it's very rare and
Mhm.
everything. So it's kind of weird, not weird, but it's really exciting to see that Microsoft is somehow supporting Nintendo in this manner. And I know that for us as Nintendo players, we thought that, with them acquiring ZeniMax with Bethesda, that there would still be some games that Microsoft would be like, yeah, we could still put this on Nintendo. But there was a cutoff after, I believe, the Wolfenstein game with the two girls. Like, I think that was like the last one from them and
Mhm.
everything. So it's kind of surprising to see that they will go into this agreement for Call of Duty. Now, I will say that from a lot of Nintendo viewpoints, they weren't asking for Call of Duty, but to get Crash and Tony Hawk and um some of the Blizzard games and stuff to be on Nintendo platform day and date. That's kind of exciting for a lot of people because like those are the games that I think more people will prefer on Nintendo's platform than just Call of Duty, you know. Um, but I think that's kind of my viewpoint. Like that's a big thing, and I gotta say, I think ever since Minecraft, with Microsoft being on Nintendo's platform, that has opened up huge doors because you know Sakurai put Steve from Minecraft in Smash Brothers. Like as crazy as that seems, I'm like
Mhm.
that's literally cool. And then Nintendo allowing Microsoft to make Mario content for Minecraft for Nintendo. Like,
Mhm.
and I could see at some point in time that Nintendo actually let Microsoft put some of their stuff on their platform. But
Mhm.
and it could be cosmetics or whatever. And if that happens, if that works, I think it's not a merger, but I think that's good business for Microsoft itself because man, to have a Mario Kart level in Forza Horizon 6 or something would be bunkers.
Mhm. Yeah, that would be kind of neat. Or even just have like where you could get like all the different Mario Kart carts from, like where you can like actually have them as
Hmm.
uh as cars that you can unlock and stuff like that would be neat.
Well,
But
I
I
mean,
See, oh,
oh,
go ahead.
sorry.
oh,
I was going to say, remember back when Soul Calibur 2 came out and Link showed up in that, how much everybody
Hmm.
lost their minds about that? I mean, people go crazy for when Nintendo stuff shows up in there. And coming into Soul Calibur, that was such an explicit um, version of Nintendo. There wasn't any illusions like you saw in old Final Fantasy games or old Dragon Quest games. Like this was straight up Link in Soul Calibur. If you have this kind of thing and this bridge going on in the future, like people are gonna like that's it makes a lot of business sense for Microsoft to want to be in bed with Nintendo because they can put some of these assets into their games and people will eat it up. I mean that's a big it like I remember I was a kid and I lost my mind when Link was in there. I would lose my mind if I saw random Nintendo stuff in like you said in a Forza game or in any other kind of Microsoft exclusive.
mhm.
Yeah, it is. It like just from Soul Calibur 2 and Nintendo having that kind of relationship. Like Sakurai could have went with any other developer to make Smash Brothers, but yet he went to Bandai Namco. And like Nintendo, Bandai Namco, Capcom, SNK, like a lot of the Eastern big developers who have made fighting games, a lot of their characters are in it um besides like Tecmo and stuff. Like we don't have anyone from Dead or Alive in the series. But that all could change. Konami don't have no fighters, but yet Silent Snake is in there. Like that's crazy and
I
stuff.
wanna I wanna see a Metroid Prime Doom crossover.
Oh heck yeah.
Or
Like,
even throw a Metroid Prime Halo Doom crossover. You could throw them all in there. I mean,
yeah,
that was
Yeah.
like Metroid Prime and Halo were like at the time of their release, those were kind of some competitors at the time.
yeah,
Seeing them shake hands is just would be amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
just
it's oh go ahead, Jesse.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, because I could just see like like the whole mother brain like floating around, like Doom style, how they have all the 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 enemies just kind of all over. Like I could see stuff like that, and like
Goodness.
it would be kind of cool, just like or like there's like have like mutations of the characters from both games that are a mixture of the characters from the two different games and things like that.
Uh,
Like,
Mother Brain and Cortana coming together. Am I saying it right?
yeah, Cortana. Yeah.
Cortana. Cortana. Mother Brain and Cortana coming together to ruin Havoc
Yeah.
in Metroid and Halo. That would be the most insane. Like, if Nintendo will be cool with it, that would be the most insane DLC. Because Nintendo would be like, okay, let's go to 343 Studios and make sure that they're getting it right. If you guys got some people from Retro still working there, let's see what they could do. Because the thing, me and Corey, we talked about this. I literally feel like Microsoft could learn a lot of development tools in making games and stuff from Nintendo, and Nintendo could learn about Microsoft's online functionality to help
Hmm.
each other. Because I'm not, like I said, I'm not knocking Microsoft and their games and stuff, but I'm like, you have seen when Nintendo has gotten involved into some other people's games, you have seen the results that have came from it. Bayonetta 2 wouldn't have been popular the way that it was if Nintendo didn't have part of their hands in Bayonetta 2.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and I mean like the differences, like like I like to look at the differences in animated films, like
Hmm.
American animated film versus a Japanese animated film are very, very different. They're very beloved in their own ways, but they're so different. And that, and I look at it the same way with games. Like they come to the same conclusion in a different way, and that's what makes them so uniquely their own, like so uniquely Japanese and so uniquely American, like it. But yeah, they both, to be able to mix those two together in some way, if someone can do that, would be an interesting project to see happen.
Yeah. And I think Nintendo looked at High Five Rush. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Nintendo, of course, they have Elite Beat agents, but they also have Rhythm Heaven. You know, it's so they're kind of like, people know Nintendo music. And so to mix music in a platform action game like Hi-Fi Rush, I know Nintendo had to look to be. I think Nintendo, if they just looked at it and saw it, I think they would appreciate what Tango Works did and everything. To be like, yes, this is an American game, but we are praising this American game because it has some kind of like Nintendo, and it's Nintendo meets Insomniac in design, in a sense, and it
Hmm.
works. And I think they would literally, I think they would literally appreciate it, because that's one thing that a lot of Nintendo players did appreciate by Hi-Fi Rush. That for people who played it, they were just like, oh, this is really game of the year. Like this stands out on its own. Nintendo couldn't do this. I mean, if they wanted to, they could try or they could do it. But I think Nintendo respects it from, and I can't really speak for Nintendo, but I think there's a level of respect seeing something like that and
Hmm.
everything. Like I would love to see what Miyamoto thought if he had played Hi-Fi Rush and it clicked like that
Hmm.
and everything. Uh, but I'm gonna start with you, Josh. What game should Nintendo or what franchise should Nintendo bring to Microsoft? We're gonna start with Nintendo bringing something to Microsoft, then we're gonna reverse it. What one game or series would you like to see Nintendo bring to Microsoft?
That's a good question, Ed. Seeing what Nintendo did with this Metroid Prime remastered was phenomenal, especially given kind of the dated equipment that the Switch runs on. At
Mm-hmm.
this point, they know how to make it work and look great. Can you imagine what that would look like if Metroid Prime 4 showed up on like an Xbox with that technology? How well that would run, how gorgeous that would look. I mean, Microsoft has shown they know how to do alien sci-fi shooters. Like they do it really well. And I think 3D Metroid in particular, I think side scrolling would be a different story, but I think your
Mm-hmm.
3D Metroid games, which is mainly your Metroid Prime, would do it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think I agree with you, and I think like that that franchise in general is going to like it's going to be appreciated by the Microsoft or the Xbox fans. I think the most just because like a lot of people who play on Xbox are like they're usually first person shooter
mm-hmm.
heavy or like stuff like that, like the Halos and the now all the like Wolfenstein and Doom and and all that. It adds something similar but not, but still completely different to the point of where it's not going to get, nothing's going to get lost and, or be battling over each other. People are still going to want to own that and the new Halo game, or they're going to want to own that and the new, Doom game or whatever, like it's different enough.
Well, and that's one too that when I look at Nintendo's their sacred cows, there you're looking at Mario, Legend of Zelda, and that's because those are like international successes. Metroid's one of
Mm-hmm.
those ones that's a lot more popular in the West than it is in Japan. So that's
Hmm.
going to be one that I would see. They would probably be a little bit more okay with, messing with a little bit of their formula, what they do, because that's not one of their sacred cows. That's going to be one that's huge here, but in Japan, they're indifferent to it. I mean, they like it, but it's not like it's liked over here in the United States. So, letting Microsoft really collaborate on that and do what they do well to make a game, it's Nintendo doesn't feel like they're giving up their golden goose, but they're also allowing a very popular franchise in the West to really thrive. That I think would look very good. And kind of going off of this point too, at another one, I think how about we revive some F Zero on Xbox?
Hmm.
That
Yeah,
if they can do Forza good, I bet we
yeah,
could have some fun looking F Zero stuff there.
yeah.
Especially since how long has it been since we've seen a game, the GameCube? Not counting those Mario Kart things, like it's been a
Yeah,
while.
Yeah,
yeah, GameCube.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Jesse, what one game or what game series would you want Nintendo to bring to Microsoft?
Okay, so like obviously, like I do think that Metroid is probably one of the bigger things that I would pick. But I'm actually gonna go a little bit different, and I'm going to actually go with Animal Crossing. Um,
Ooh.
I think I think Animal Crossing um working with the Minecraft like kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
like I could really see those two things existing in a world where they can have like learn stuff from each other. Both of those games could benefit um, each other by work if those teams were to work together, and kind of look at things, like as far as like Animal Crossing goes. I could see them benefiting from a system where you have different things that you can get find and create, put together to create more things that you can
Uh,
make and use to build your world. And then, Minecraft can also benefit from them, from storytelling, um and building like characters outside of just the ones you're playing as to really bring, more personality to those worlds. um because I mean, don't get me wrong, there is like in the Minecraft dungeons and stuff, there is a little bit more lore and things going on in that, but I still think, the Animal Crossing, like with the way they do characters and stuff, like is they did a really good job with that. I mean, like, people are going to build a bear and getting these characters
yeah,
built, that, stuff that build a bear and all that stuff. And because, they're so iconic now at this point, as more and more people with the latest, Animal Crossing have gotten into the lore of those games.
man.
um
If Nintendo had Animal Crossing DLC for Minecraft, how quick would Microsoft's infrastructure for their store crash? Like
yeah,
I like to call it the Ryu crash, because when
yeah.
Ryu got announced for Street Fighter during that E3, the eShop crash for 2 days. Man, that will and I wouldn't say that, oh, they should just put that on Game Pass. No, if Nintendo said, hey, here's some Animal Crossing DLC for $9.99 that you guys get. Um it's Xbox exclusive for 1 whole year before it comes to Switch. Like, we'll hold off. And
Yeah.
anyone who has Nintendo Expression Online, you'll get it for free.
Well, and
Like,
they could do the whole, like, so people who play Fortnite, like
mhm,
Fortnite has been really really good about bringing all this different content into the game.
yeah,
And then they have these worlds, these fan created maps and things like that, but it's they're created by the company, um, by the creators of Minecraft or of
yeah,
Fortnite, where you can go and they have a special world that's like uh, built around maybe some characters or whatever that they've introduced that are new or whatever. And I could see them doing that in Minecraft, having a world or a map that you could go to, where they would introduce the characters from Animal Crossing, and like, have like their version of an Animal Crossing world, and have like the houses and things like that you can go to and visit with these Animal Crossing characters and get to know them and learn about them, and then like have the DLC kind of um, based around wanting people to go to this map to go visit the characters and learn about them.
mhm,
And even like maybe even do some story building in there, where you're learning about the lore, but you're also learning about why these two worlds are coming together. Something like that. Like I could see a lot of potential with that. Like it's just, like when you have games like that, where people, chances are the people who enjoy playing Minecraft or did enjoy playing Minecraft that have gotten
mhm,
older probably play, Animal Crossing now, and it's almost like a little bit more grown up version of that in some ways,
mhm.
like a little bit more advanced in some ways, but not in others. And that's why I was saying, like, I think the two of those companies could learn from each other a lot.
Yeah.
Well, and
Well,
kind
for
of adding into
go
that
ahead,
too.
Josh.
Sorry, I was saying adding into that. If Animal Crossing is one of those franchises that's very quietly would be very benefited from having a good online structure, having good internet access. Because I'm in a couple of Animal Crossing groups on Facebook, and I hear the people talk. They go visit each other's islands, but as far as I'm aware, it's kind of in a limited capacity. If you could open up that internet um, bandwidth and
Mhm.
use some of the things that Microsoft does well, being a computer company, that would make Animal Crossing such a it would really open up a lot of things there to online playability, further than where it's at right now. And I think DLC and crossovers are a great approach. I also think that it would be ripe for some very good technical upgrades that Nintendo just doesn't offer. And Animal Crossing is one that it's got a very deep following. The people who love this game really love this game, and being able to further enhance online capabilities for them would just be such a game changer for that franchise and its fans.
If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/bossrushmedia and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support.
Well, for me, I'm choosing Eternal Darkness and Ninja Theory doing the development. And the reason why I say this because Ninja Theory, of course, Hellblade. They know how to tell the story. They know how to make a world look gorgeous and yet creepy. And I can't wait for Hellblade 2. But I could just see them going all in on the Eternal Darkness 2. Of course, the psychotic thing on what they learned from Hellblade, how do they incorporate this, and then just building a house that looks insane and scary and creepy, playing on lights, playing on shadow. As much as Nintendo, I love Nintendo doing the Luigi's Mansion games. I love that scary. Tecmo is fine doing their stuff with the Fatal Frame series. But
Mhm.
I feel like Microsoft needs horror. They need something to be like, oh, this is creepy. And I think Eternal Darkness is right on that level of psychological thriller, but also making it where it's just like, I'm going to put my controller down and I'm going to walk away from this game for a minute. I need that fear, and I think Ninja Theory could do it. And still bring action and still bring a story that's gonna draw people in. But I think it would be literally a new direction. And I know they're working on a new game along with Hellblade 2, but I could just see them taking Eternal Darkness, doing Eternal Darkness 2, and just going insane with this game. Uh, I think it will put the discussion of Microsoft's first party lineup in a whole different discussion, a whole different line. To be like, Microsoft released all of these games that Nintendo allowed them to make. Which one is game of the year? Which one did something different? Which one is benefiting off of Microsoft? Just not their hardware, but the engines that those developers use to bring these beautiful, intricate worlds and stuff that Nintendo just yeah, they took our property. We're allowing them to use our property to make games, and we're getting paid for them real good. But it's making people look at Xbox differently and having their talk. And of course, people gonna be like, "Well, Nintendo needs to be third party. That's just Microsoft having." No, Nintendo is letting them use probably properties that they're not saying that they're not interested in anymore, but they just don't have a design idea from them. And I think Microsoft, if they had their hands on it, they could come up with an idea. They could rip something up, and Nintendo is going to oversee it. Where there may be some battles here and there, but Nintendo's gonna be like, we want you guys to make sure that you're designing a game and not designing something to look flashy. You know, like we yes, we want our step of approval and quality, but we want it to be at a point where people are talking more about the game than more than about how the game looks and everything. And I feel
Yeah.
like Eternal Darkness could give them that leeway. And if Nintendo told Platinum Games, do whatever y'all want in Bayonetta 2. In fact, this Princess Peach outfit, it's not sexy enough. Make it sexy. Nintendo allowed Platinum to do that, and then went on their merry way to make the games that they make and stuff. And I think they could let Microsoft do that. But then it comes to what Microsoft games can Nintendo have to put on their platform. Jesse, I'm gonna start with you. What Microsoft game would you give to Nintendo for Nintendo to go all out in?
Okay, so I was gonna kind of mention this just because I'll be honest, I'd have to think a little bit more, but what about Fusion Frenzy? Fusion Frenzy, Fusion Frenzy. Well, because I was thinking like that would be kind of fun if they brought Mario Party to Xbox and had a
Mm.
Fusion Frenzy Mario Party crossover. But um, let's see, an Xbox to Nintendo. Well, I mean, Ori's already been over there.
But the thing with Ori is that Microsoft doesn't own Moon
Yeah,
Studios,
yeah,
so
yeah. Um, hmm. Well, I I would like to see them do either well probably Gears. I think Gears of War, bringing something Gears of War
mm,
over would probably be, because like I don't know why, but for some reason Gears of War to me seems like a franchise that would do better in Japan. I think because of the story.
yeah.
I think the story line and kind of everything, that it's about, especially the most recent, Gears. I just think that franchise would do better over there than like Halo or something. But yeah, that's what I would go with. Gears of War.
All right. What about you, Josh? What Microsoft game or series would you give to Nintendo just to go all in?
So I might show my Xbox ignorance a little bit here, but I think I'm going to dig a little bit deep here. This one came to mind just from the fact of how big of the Switch has become a really big RPG machine, both
Hmm.
in terms of retro games as well as some new ones. I think it'd be cool to see Fable show up on Nintendo consoles a
Yeah,
little bit more.
Really?
I think
yeah,
so because I mean the Switch is just shown right now, and whatever we do in the future, Nintendo's found that niche that I own a PlayStation 5, but my Switch is where all my RPGs, my JRPGs, all those titles are there. And Fable being an action RPG game, one that really I'm looking at the list here. The last game we had was really a while ago. Where was it? 2017. Fable Fortune came out. There's one that's on the horizon that still doesn't have a date attached to it. But I mean, you go
Hmm.
back to the 2004, 2005 Fable, The Lost Chapters, bringing those back, maybe developing new games into there. I mean, Nintendo has really shown how well they play with these RPG franchises. Yeah, they don't have Final Fantasy, but I mean, Dragon Quest got one of its best iterations for 11 on the Switch. Yeah, it had its hardware limitations, but that was the version that a lot of people were pointing to and saying this was a very good version of what a lot of people have argued is one of the best Dragon Quest games. If you bring Fable into that, then I think that could be a really big game changer there. And that's also me digging for an answer because I look at the list and I just as the hardware sits, I think Nintendo would be hard pressed to pull over some of these franchises like Halo or Forza or something like that. But I look at
Mhm.
Fable, and I think that's something that they could do something well with, especially given what they've helped do with Xenoblade Chronicles. Seeing Fable in that format on the Switch, I think, would be a very good addition to that already stellar RPG lineup.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
There, I just
Uh,
singed your eyebrows, Ed.
no, because I thought you was gonna go Lost Odyssey or Blue Dragon.
Yeah, those wouldn't be bad, but I think I'm coming from a point of because so growing up, I only owned Nintendo consoles. I mean,
Mm.
we had a Genesis 3 back in the day. We had an Xbox 360 for all of a month before we got went through two of them that red ringed um, all the time. And then now I have a PlayStation 5. But I Fable was one I was always interested in, so I might be a little selfish on this one, but I do think it would be a franchise that could really find a good spot on Nintendo. But no, Lost Odyssey would be another good one too.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, for me, I am going to go with Quantum Break. And of course, this is a game by Remedy. And I don't know if Microsoft still owns the rights to it or anything, but I think Nintendo needs a story-driven game with live action TV in it. Like that kind of mixture, that combination, I think would do good on Nintendo. Um, Definitely with Nintendo having a lot of their dramas is, I mean, not Nintendo makes it or anything, but in Japan they have a lot of dramas, and some of their action stuff, like if you go on Netflix and you watch some of their international shows, definitely from Japan or some other parts of Asia, you will see like, oh man, like the lighting, the style, this camera work, I'm like, this could be like literally a video game. And I think with Quantum Break, even though that's so Western and its design, with Remedy, I'm like, I would love to see what would happen if while Quantum Break was happening, if they had another business in Japan, and that gameplay and storyline was like reflecting to where they do meet up, uh and it caused like a Quantum Break 3 or something like that. Like Quantum Break 1 is what happened on in the USA. Quantum Break 2 is what happened that they made this time thing in Japan and stuff. And somehow they both when it gets to the end of Quantum Break, I won't spoil it or anything. They somehow meet up with both protagonists from each other's gang, and then Quantum Break could lead up. Like, just think of how, because Nintendo, you have some great animation. The Star Fox Zero cartoon is so good. The Pikmin show, the little shows are good. They acquired that movie company or that animated company for them to make help probably make shorts and stuff like there. They could Nintendo could go in and have them make some shorts, some commercials or TV parts for Quantum Break 2, you know, and still have retro come in. You got Call of Duty developers, you got um Halo developers, Battlefield developers, like you know how to make a over the shoulder shooter. Like you guys, I'm not saying that Luigi's Mansion had it, but there was that destruction disaster game that happened on Wii, and I think that was a Nintendo game. So I'm like, y'all can make something out of this, but have it in like happening in Japan and stuff, you know. So I'm going with Quantum Break for this one. Uh so but now this is gonna be a what this is gonna be a surprise for you guys. What one game can Microsoft and Nintendo both work on and put it out on either's platform, or no, not either's platforms. They come together, make a game, and it's PC only. It's Windows only.
Hmm.
Josh, I'm gonna start with you with this one.
I was afraid you'd say that. Man, that's a good question. And I'm totally filibustering here because I'm really trying to think. Honestly, and this might feel like a cop out. I think this would be the if they were to do that, this would be the best opportunity to come up with a new IP. Because I mean, we look at everything established. People are going to want what they want on their consoles. If you're going to establish something like that, that's a Nintendo Microsoft joint effort. I feel like you've got to come up with something new, and I don't know what that would be. And I'm totally copying out because I'm trying to think of something that would really fit into
Oh,
there.
I've
But
already got it.
all right,
So
well, let's hear it then, Ed.
Pilot
Microsoft.
Wings. Pilot Wings Flight Simulator.
Oh my goodness, dude, that will literally be amazing. Flight Simulator and Pilot Wings coming together for
Yeah.
PC, dude.
Yeah.
How Jesse, how much do you think that controllers for like the flight controllers and everything, like the sales of that would jump?
Yeah. Yeah, because like it would be flight simulator, like legitimate, like you're really flying a plane and have all the realism of flight simulator, but
Hmm.
you're going, you're doing different tricks and having to try to, do different things, in the worlds. But they could do the whole like almost like AR type thing where it's
Yes.
augmented reality where you could be flying and doing things like objectives like literally over where you live in the game. Like,
Shoot, for me, I was about to say Fire Emblem because they have
yeah.
Halo Wars and Warhammer 40K. I think
Yeah.
that's Microsoft's now. I think.
Um
Um.
I don't know for sure.
Yeah. I would have to look that up, but definitely with Halo Wars, like Fire Emblem being on PC with Microsoft and Nintendo coming together to work on that. Oh heck yeah! Like Corey could have his. Cause think about it, Fire Emblem meets Sea of Thieves.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
like
that's the pirate game Corey wants, and, and they could come together and do that. Like I would be like, you know what? I'm about to invest in the PC so I could play this. Of course it could be on Series X, I guess. But I'm like, I want something PC straight, just exclusively the PC, and it's only Windows Central. Like only Windows have it. You can't play it on Steam. You can't play it on uh the other one. Goodness, why can I think of it? Uh, uh,
GOG,
no, Epic Games. Sorry
Epic
about that.
Games.
Or
oh yeah.
GOG, yeah. Like they come together and make a Fire Emblem for PC in this pirate thing. So like your Sea of Thieves data is recognized in Fire Emblem, and you get those cosmetics or you get those ships, and like if you're playing Sea of Thieves, you have to look around to help your Fire Emblem game. Like they could come together and man, a Fire Emblem PC with Sea of Thieves cosmetics for like I could see that. Pilot Wings and Flight Simulator. A new IP. Nintendo and Microsoft coming together to make a new IP for PC. Like that will and I think because there's so many young teams at Nintendo to get the to come to America or Seattle or wherever and work with them to make a new game for like PC. I think it wouldn't be like a battle royal or anything, but I think it would be something. How do we make a game that anyone could play, jump in, and use Xbox functionality of ease of access online and stuff? You know, Of course, Microsoft will handle like the talking parts and stuff, like the online chat and everything. That would be very interesting and everything. Just seeing how Japan interacts with each other talking and stuff, and while America is doing that. Of course, people are like, well, why won't they just do Splatoon? I'm like, yeah, they can do Splatoon, but I'm like, a new IP between them would kind of like solidify them having a really great relationship and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because that would definitely not piss off Sony, but I think a lot of the Sony players would be not left out, but kind of feeling a certain type of way because they had to go this route to play and experience those games because Sony's not providing that experience. Not saying that they can't do that they can't do or make those games. They're just not providing that experience.
Or what if when the new, like, let's say Windows 12 can't, like you have your all your basic programs that come with the
Mhm.
computer when you first get it, and they get to make a new Mario Paint. That's their paint feature.
Ooh.
That's
That's a good
only on
one. That's a
PC, and
good
it's on
one.
Windows 12. Like day and date, like.
I have fallen in love with you, Jesse. Marry me.
Because that would see, I'm trying to think of things that would make sense to only be on PC. And
Dude,
like for
just
me that would make sense because, like,
if you're
unless you
going
want to have to buy a mouse again for your Switch,
to
like
but
but
think
guess
about like
what? Computer already has one.
Mario PC, like because just think about it. Just if you could still do the paint, still have the colorable aspect, that music section. Oh,
Hmm.
that would be insane to have like that music program along with being able to paint. So, and definitely you could start making movies and things like that, or make something animated with Microsoft's technology. Like that,
Bring
they could.
Clippy back.
Yeah, they actually could and give him a sound effect. Like I could see that happening. Like, and that would be so cool, and it'd be educational. Like you, I don't know if the program would come free because sometimes Microsoft's charge for that program and stuff like that. But me and you, Jesse, we was talking about Microsoft doing $100 or $120 a year for all the programs for PC. But it's also like part of Xbox and stuff like there. So
Mhm.
if you pay that 120 annually per year, you get like Word and Paint and all the special features for their chat stuff and everything. Like, and if part of that was for that add-on or anything, if they did that like Mario Paint PC, heck yeah. People
Yeah.
it would people will be excited because not only is that something for the family computer, but it's something that kids could get into. And
Mhm.
like for the people who are developing games and stuff, to have that on there, I think people will be like, oh, this is cool and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I think those are great ones. And I think I might go a little bit off the deep end here on one that I think would be fun for PC. Do you remember those games in the late 90s, Myst and Riven and the Journeyman
Yes.
Yeah.
project?
Yes.
I would love to see if Microsoft and Nintendo could work together and create either, bring in those studios or create a similar type of game that's maybe not point and click, just because that kind of gameplay is a little bit archaic, but something that's just like those old school PC games. I mean, we see so many indies just really dive into what the SNES did or the
Hmm.
NES did. I think if you go on PC, there's a whole world of old point and click games that could really be updated or use, newer games into that. I think I look at like a franchise, and I'm really digging back here, so bear with me. But the Journeyman project is such an interesting science
Ooh.
fiction game that obviously is stuck under Presto Studios. I don't know if it's anywhere in particular. But if you could do something like that, that would be a really cool thing. And maybe you keep it point and click. Maybe you do something that makes the world not be pre-rendered in the
Journeyman.
background. But
Was that 3 game? Did they do 3 games?
yeah, so you had the first Journeyman came out, like, we're talking the early '90s. They did
Mm-hmm.
an updated version, I think, in the mid '90s, and then they released two others that had more. It was more voice actors in it. Because the first Journeyman game was very much you were reading stuff that was updating you on your mission, and the voice acting was very stilted and everything like that. And then you look at a game like Myst, there was nobody said anything in that game. You read everything in that one. Riven,
So,
there was more, but
so
yeah.
funny thing, Josh. For World 101 podcast, I think I gotta find an episode, but I think we ended up talking to the developers of the Journeyman.
Did you from Presto
Yeah.
Studios?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty dope. That was one of those games when I was a kid. I
Mhm.
had no idea what I was doing, but I just would go play it. I just go run around, and it was like the concept was really cool, which I think would lend itself to some good storytelling, kind of to your point, and something that would work better on a PC than on a console. But like Journeyman was about, had a very deep lore about
Mhm.
the 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 far future. Aliens finally visited Earth after all the borders were knocked down. Everybody came together and became more of an Earth species rather than by country. And now they're trying to decide. And then there's some terrorist who wants to take out the aliens and start a war with the alien. Like, it just was a really interesting story that I think could build on something. So if you bring a game that, like, very story driven, or even create like a point and click type series, and again, maybe that's not the gameplay mechanic, but
Oh
something
no,
that
no,
like that.
because Nintendo has the Famicom Detective Agency. There are 2 games that were released in Japan that never came to America, and they got remade for Switch because I own both of them,
Mhm.
so I could see
Well,
outside of
Monkey Island's another point and click that's
yeah.
pretty popular now. So
It's so
there's a
funny
place
that
for
you
that
mentioned.
type of gameplay.
It's so funny that you mentioned the Journeyman because now I'm thinking of a remake of that. Like, if this is gonna sound crazy, Nintendo does the artwork, Microsoft does the development.
Let me see
Like,
where that sits.
or if, or like if, like, yeah, I would have to think about, like, how does Nintendo get involved with that? Because if that could happen, I'm down for a Journeyman's remake. And if they want to do point and click, that's completely fine with me. Like, go right ahead.
So
Just
it
thinking,
looks like the developer is Presto Studios
Mhm.
and
What you
various
thinking of,
pub.
Jesse?
oh, he can finish first. I'll say it later.
Oh, I just was
Okay.
saying there's a couple of different publishers: Bandai, Sanctuary Woods, and Red Orb Entertainment all help publish it. I
Okay.
don't know if Presto Studios still does. Okay, they closed. Yeah, they shuttered in 2002. So that's an IP that's just kind of sitting around right now.
Yeah. Okay, Jesse, what would you say?
Well, I was just trying to think of old school like games that used to come, on Microsoft, like on Windows or whatever, like when you'd get the PC or whatever.
Hmm.
And what if they did a Bomberman Minesweep
Oh
game?
my goodness. Even though that's Konami, I'm
Yeah,
down for
no,
that. I
yeah.
would love that. That would probably be cool and everything. Uh, but everybody, that's gonna be it for Nintendo Pop Like Expansion Pass. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Josh. You guys have blown my mind because now I'm thinking of seeing all your games that you guys talked about and brought to the table happening because like I said, I mean Nintendo and Microsoft fans would definitely benefit from that. It would do something to the industry and the way that we look at games when 2 first party companies come together to make it. Now, for the business side, that's very up in the air because one could be successful, one might like actually fall. But to get the idea of games like that happening on each other's platforms and them just working, not saying that it can never happen or anything. What you thinking of, Jesse?
I was just thinking of another one. Like, I would actually like to see Sea of Thieves and Pokemon have a crossover, and like where you could have like the different Pokemon coming out of the water while you're out in your ship and stuff.
Oh wow. Be like, hey matey, what the heck is that? The one fish that doesn't fight?
Instead of cannonballs, you'd be shooting Pokeballs.
Oh wow.
Shooting Voltorbs.
But yes, everybody. As wild and as imaginative as it is, I think Nintendo and Microsoft. I really hope they continue to have a great partnership. Hopefully, if they ever decide to make games for each other or put some Nintendo games on PC, I hope Microsoft is there to help them, and vice versa. I hope Nintendo's there to help Microsoft, like really help and create some games and stuff, and just to learn from them, to be like, man, this is how they think outside the box of design. We should incorporate that, not steal it, but just like let that influence us or encourage us to make games better. So, but thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Josh. Everybody, we will see you next time on Nintendo Expansion Pass. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Nintendo Expansion Pass is part of Nintendo Power Block and is a product of Boss Rush Media LLC. The show is recorded from our headquarters in Akron, Ohio, and is hosted by me, Edward Varnell. My co-host is Corey Deary. You can find Corey at I am Corey in HD on Twitter and Instagram, as well as hosting the Boss Rush Podcast and Tower Casuals, the Destiny Podcast. Follow Expansion Pass as part of Nintendo Power Block and on all social media platforms at Power Block Podcast. You can also follow Boss Rush Media and Boss Rush Network on all major social media platforms. Join the Boss Rush Network Discord and Facebook groups to interact with other friends and fans. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.